Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Good morning, good people. Sneaker Sensei here. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming releases in the month of May. If you're like me and you got your Govy checks in, it's all good. If not, I'll pray for you. If you're a government worker, I pray for you. If you're not a government worker, essential worker. If you're an essential worker, I pray for you and thank you. If you're not an essential worker and you don't get the Govy checks, I pray for you too. In any regard, we're going to see if we're going to drop our money or not, or if I'm going to drop my money or not, or anywho, the month of May. Let's go. Starting out the month of May, on the 1st, we see the release of the Nike Air Max 270 React ENG Travis Scott. Now, to my knowledge and the sources, ENG does not stand for eggs and garbage, even though that's what they might look like. ENG actually stands for engineered, which I think refers to the engineered mesh on top of the shoe. Regardless, it's a Travis Scott drop, so I think they're going to sell out. We're going to see these looking at $190 US to $270 Canadian dollars. Again, that's a Nike Air Max 270 React ENG Travis Scott. On that same day, we see Puma releasing a new colorway of the Puma Sky Modern. Now, the thing I like about this is that it's the same silhouette as J. Cole's shoe with them, called the Sky Dreamer. The only difference really is that Dreamer isn't on the back heel. We're seeing these come in at $130 US to $185 Canadian. Now, I know it's gonna be a quiet shoe, but I'm looking forward to them anyways. Again, the Puma Sky Modern. And now for the last drop of that day, we see the release of the Adidas and Parlay Uncaged Ultra Boost. For those of you that don't know yet, the special thing about those collabs is that they take plastic from the ocean, recycle it, and make it into a brand new shoe. We're seeing the pricing of those come in at $180 US to $250 Canadian dollars. Again, the Adidas Parlay Uncaged Ultra Boost. Now moving on to May 2nd, we see the release of the Air Jordan Fire Red 5. We saw these released not too long ago on a shock drop during the Last Dance documentary, which of course followed MJ and the Chicago Bulls. They sold out immediately then, and I think they will now again. Given that their original colorway and the hype around the documentary, these are fire, pun intended. Again, we're seeing these come in at $200 US to $285 Canadian dollars. The Air Jordan Fire Red 5. Now moving on to May 8th, we see the release of the Air Jordan 13 in the Aurora Green colorway. This is going to be a GS or grade school size release, so we're looking at size 7 youth or women's 8.5 and below. I really do think these shoes would have sold a lot better if they were released around Easter, because I think the colorway looks more like that. But in any case, they're Jordans, you know. Pricing on these will be $140 US to $197 Canadian dollars. Again, the Air Jordan 13 Aurora Green. Coming out on May 9th, my personal favorite drop of the entire month, the Air Jordan 1 Retro High Game Royal, aka the Royal Toe. Now it's essentially the reverse color blocking of the Air Jordan 1 Fragment, where the blue is found on the heel. This drop is going to have the blue found on the toe. I personally don't have a blue pair of ones in my collection, so I'm looking forward to add this. Hopefully, if I can beat all the bots out there. Pricing, we're looking at $170 American dollars to $240 Canadian dollars. Again, the Air Jordan 1 Royal Toe or Game Royal. And now on May 15th, we see the release of the Adidas Yeezy Quantum basketball shoe. Now we saw these released early in the year during NBA's All-Star Weekend in Chicago, but this is now a general release to the public. Now granted, they're a Yeezy shoe and they're a completely new silhouette. I do think these are going to sell like hotcakes regardless. So start your medical releases to sell that kidney, sell your other shoes, sell your mom, all that good stuff. The price is going to be $250 US to $355 Canadian dollars. Again, the Adidas Yeezy Quantum basketball shoe. Also releasing that day, Adidas is dropping the Adizero Pro for their performance running line. A couple notable things about this shoe is that they're introducing a new proprietary foam, which is Light Strike, and they're combining it with their classic boost cushioning under the foot. This is very similar to what Nike did with the Pegasus Turbo when they introduced Zoom X on top of React. That was a shoe that sold like hotcakes. I think this one will too. Another thing that they're also taking from Nike, I think, would be the carbon fiber shank inside, kind of what like Nike did for the Nike Vaporfly 4% when they broke the 2-minute record. I always like competition between brands just because it pushes everyone to become better. The pricing for this shoe is coming in at $160 American to $230 Canadian. Again, the Adidas Adi Zero Pro. Also on that day, we see the release of the CDG Play Converse Chuck 70. We're going to be seeing them release in 2 different colorways and 2 different cuts, kind of like their classic that took the world by storm before. So we're going to see like an off-white and a black colorway with hearts covering the entire shoe. These are actually dropping a little bit earlier in Japan as well on April 29th, but to the rest of the world, we're seeing them drop next month. Pricing, while inconclusive, we want to roughly estimate that they're $150 US to $200 Canadian dollars. Again, the CDG Play Converse Chuck 70. Now on May 21st, we see the release of the Nike Dunk Low SP Brazil. A couple notable things about this shoe is that it's an SP versus an SB. What that means is that it's a special project Nike, which means the quality of the shoe is supposed to be top tier. It also means that it won't have like the elastics on the tongues, nor does it have a thick tongue. Over the next couple months, Nike is also dropping a couple of dunks in different colorways, white and red and blue and orange. And I think it's smart that they're staggering out the releases because, to be honest, of all 3, this shoe is probably the least favorite. Price-wise, we're looking at $100 US to $140 Canadian dollars. Again, the Nike Dunk Low SP Brazil. And now on the 22nd, we see the release of the women's Air Jordan 11 Low in the Concord colorway. Now, a little disclaimer, it's not the classic black and white Concord that we all know and love, but it's more so the Concord like purple that we see underneath the shoe. That's what we're seeing on the upper. Pricing is looking like $185 American dollars to $260 Canadian dollars. Again, the women's Air Jordan 11 Low Concord. And now to round off the end of the month, on May 30th, we see the release of the Air Jordan 13 Flint. These were originally released in 1998, and as Jordan Brand has been trying to remaster their like original classics, this is one of those pairs that they're trying to have that same craftsmanship as well. So they're claiming that this is as close to the original as possible. We last saw this shoe released back in 2010, and just like then, I think they're going to be in high demand. Pricing is going to be coming up at $190 US to $270 Canadian dollars. Again, the Air Jordan 13 Flint. And now for a couple pairs that I left off the list because news about them seem to be a little bit inconsistent across all the news sources. These shoes include the Air Jordan 5 Top 3, which was slated to be May 30th, but news is kind of inconclusive around that date. It's very similar to the Air Jordan 1 Top 3s, where they took the most successful colorways and mashed them all into one shoe. Another inconsistent one was the Adidas Pride Pack of 2020. These were slated to be released on May 1st, very similar to the Nike Be True collection. They're taking their own spin on that in regards to supporting Pride. And lastly, the Nike Ambush Dunk, releasing potentially in a pink and a black and white colorway. These were first seen during New York's Fashion Week, and since then they've got a couple of viral pictures circulating the internet. Personally, a pair that I'm looking forward to find if we have more conclusive evidence on the release date. And that concludes our look ahead at the month of May in regards to sneaker releases. Thanks for coming by, and please stay tuned to my channel for more sneaker related content. And as always, please send a good vibe, comment, like, subscribe.
Go!